the gentleman from Pennsylvania said that we haven't funded the Department of Homeland Security. Last I remember, we actually passed a bill that completely funds the Department of Homeland Security. So, Ms. Vaughn, when the United States House of Representatives passes legislation that funds the Department of Homeland Security at levels the Democrats agreed to, would you think that that's actually funding the Department of Homeland Security?
The bill was passed that would fund the agency. What it would not fund are the president's overreach of authority.
Exactly. Right. So to say we haven't funded DHS is just flat out wrong. We have funded DHS at exactly the levels the Democrats wanted it funded. But what we also said was that the actions the president took in November we think are wrong. Would you agree with that, Ms. Vaughn?
I would, and the bill that the House passed, in fact, would address the issues that we're talking about today, because it would roll back these executive actions that prevent ICE from doing its job.
Now, I'm not the expert you are, but I actually think what the president did was in November was unconstitutional. Would you agree, Ms. Vaughn, that it was unconstitutional, the president's actions? 5 million folks. Would you agree that's unconstitutional what the president did in November?
Yes, in my opinion, it is an abuse of executive authority.
Yeah, and you don't have to take my word or your word or all the other legal scholars who said it. We actually had a federal judge, right, just a week ago, who said what the president did was unlawful. Correct?
That's right.
All right, so when the previous speaker, the gentleman from Pennsylvania, says, is it too much to ask for the House to pass a bill and fund DHS? A, we've done that. Right, Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Yeah, we passed. It passed the House. There was a vote taken. I remember. I voted. It's over there. It's been there for over a month. So we've done it. But we did make clear in that legislation that we think it's unconstitutional. We take an oath. We just took it last month when we were sworn in, an oath to uphold the Constitution. I believe it's unconstitutional. I don't know how we couldn't put the language in the bill that we did. And, oh, by the way, a federal judge has agreed with us and said it's unlawful. So the real question to ask, my colleagues on the other side, is it too much to ask Democrats, is it too much to ask them to say, you know what, let's pass a bill that agrees with the federal judge and doesn't fund something that he said was unlawful? Isn't that the central question, Ms. Vaughn?
Well, yes, and my understanding is that the Senate would like to have a debate on it, but the Democrats are preventing that debate from starting.
Exactly. We can't even pass something a federal judge says makes sense. The American people understand makes sense. You understand makes sense. That everyone gets. We can't pass it. We can't even debate it. They won't even let it be debated. So when they use the term, my friends on the other side use the term hold hostage, you got to be kidding me. They won't even debate it. So if anyone's holding anything hostage, it's the folks in the Senate, the Democrats in the Senate, who won't even talk about it. We're willing to talk about it. They're not willing to talk about it. Secretary Johnson was invited to be here today to talk about it. He won't even come. He can go on every stinking TV show there is, but he can't come answer our questions and the American people's questions, and particularly questions from families who were wronged by some of the very actions taken by this administration's immigration decisions. Now, I can't, for the life of me, this boggles my mind. Why in the world do Democrats insist upon language in a bill to fund something everyone knows is unconstitutional and a federal judge has ruled is unlawful? That's their position. And somehow, oh no, it's Republicans doing the wrong thing? You've got to be kidding me.
The gentleman yield for a question.
Be happy to yield, because I want someone to give me an answer to that common sense question that we keep asking the Senate. So
well, because it makes, we talk about a clean bill and people use that term. Wouldn't the definition of a clean bill being a bill that funds the statutes as they actually exist and that is consistent with existing law? And if you were actually funding things that were not constitutional, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't say that was clean. I would say that's a dirty bill. That's a violation of the Constitution.
The Chairman makes a great point. Clean legislation is legislation that's consistent with the federal judge's ruling last week. That's what our bill does. Completely, we want to make sure TSA agents are paid, our Coast Guard is paid, our border security, we want to make sure everyone who's doing the good work that needs to be done gets paid, but we want to do it in a way that's consistent with the federal judge's decision and the oath we took when we were sworn in just a month ago. Mr. Chairman, with that, I'd yield back.